In this video, we're going to talk about the parent square root function, okay? The basic square root function. Couldn't get any more basic, but we say this function f of x equals just the square root of x, okay? What does it look like? What are its characteristics? So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at its graph. We'll head over to Geogebra, get all these guys out of the way. Really important when you're using Geogebra, you type it into the input field. If you want to type in y equals the square root of x or f of x equals square root of x, you have to hit SQRT. We're going to put our input in the parentheses there. So square root of x, and we'll go ahead and hit enter. And go ahead and take a look at what we have here, all right? So just to make this a little bit more clear, we'll right-click on it, go to Object Properties, maybe change it to like, I don't know, blue. Change the style so a little bit more thick. But we'll go ahead and copy and paste this over to, copy and paste this over into our Photoshop Elements canvas. So Shift Control C, that's what we want to do, and come over here and we'll just go ahead and paste it in. So here's our square root function. We have a few things to say about this graph, starting with its basic shape, okay? So the graph of the square root function has the following characteristics, starting with the fact that it almost looks like a parabola that opens sideways, but you notice that you only have the upper half of the parabola, okay? And as far as domain goes, consider this. The original function is the square root of x, and you know what? When you try to take the square root of negative numbers, it just doesn't really work out for you a lot of the time. So, for example, if I were to put in like square root of negative 1, it's be plus or minus I. It's not a real result. You wouldn't get an output. As a matter of fact, the furthest left in terms of x, what's the least x value I could ever plug into this is 0. So we say, notice the domain of this graph here starts at 0 and includes 0 and goes out to the right. So not only does it look like a sideways parabola that opens to the right, the domain of the function would be all non-negative real numbers, okay? That is, the domain is starting at 0, including 0, close bracket, and going out to infinity, open bracket, because we don't include infinity. As far as range goes, we say, what y value does this graph cover? What y values? Well, it starts at a height of 0 here, and includes 0. There's no open dot there. Okay, and it proceeds to go up forever and ever. So we say the range of this function is all non-negative reals as well. That is, the range, say not domain, but range, okay, is starting at 0 going up to infinity. So you want to fix that there. The graph has an intercept at 0, 0. Interesting. Every parent function we've talked about so far has an intercept at 0, 0. Even better, notice that it goes up 1 over 1 and it goes through the point 1, 1. Okay, so last but not least, you notice this graph is always increasing, always going uphill, always positive slope. So we actually say it's not always increasing for all x values, but only the x values for which it's defined. So actually, it is increasing starting at, but not including 0. It's not actually increasing at 0, we say. But starting at 0 and going out to the right, for all those x values, our graph is going uphill. So one last thing I would like to do is this. You know, I've done a couple other videos on the parent functions. That's what I've done, what I need. But parent functions, I just want to see what they're all having in common as we go here. So we said, first of all, we had the identity function, y equals x. Okay. We had y equals x squared was our next one. We had y equals x cubed was our next one. But all I want to point out is this. In terms of what they all have in common up to this point is this. They all go through the point 0, 0 in terms of their intercepts, and they all go to the point 1, 1. So again, if you want to draw any parent function, just the basic parent function, just draw a dot at 0, 0, go up one, right one, and then just learn the basic shape of the rest of the graph to kind of sketch it in there.